Well, a big welcome to everybody. We are back today and it is Thursday, which I need to remember because we used to run these webinars on a Friday. So I'm skipping us a day forward when I'm telling you it's Friday. It's Thursday today. And of course, it's 12 o'clock. So it is time for our Level Up webinar series. So a big thank you to all of you who are joining. I can just see the numbers starting to roll in now, which is wonderful. Just a quick introduction for those who maybe don't know me or are potentially new to our webinars, or in fact, maybe new to Fabric. So I am Lisa. Welcome everybody. I am founder of Fabric, and we are a marketing training academy built to empower the most ambitious marketers to thrive. That's you guys. The team and I work with the most amazing marketers on our 12-week program to teach you how to build marketing and communication strategies from the ground up, whilst hopefully building all of your confidence, your skills to make you the most amazing marketers in the world. That's what we're out here to do. When we first set up Fabric, my intention was to give the marketing community around the globe as much value and as content as possible, because when I started out in marketing some 20 years ago now, there was nothing like this. And marketing was quite a lonely job, and the academic training that was out there for marketers wasn't really aligned to what industry wanted, and there was a bit of a disjoint when you actually got into work of what you were expected to do and how to know what to do. So over the last couple of years, as we launched Fabric, we have been running a series of Level Up webinars, which of course you're here today for one, which are all completely free. And what we do in these webinars is we look for the very best of the best that we can find in the marketing community who are absolutely smashing what they do. And so our series of guests have covered all sorts of topics in the past, but today I am so super excited to welcome our guest, who I will introduce to you in a moment, but it is Rachel, who is doing the most amazing job in so many ways. So for many of you, I'm sure you will already know of Rachel. She runs Because of Marketing and is literally the creator of one of our favorite Instagram accounts here at Fabric and also through our marketing community. An account that Rachel founded in her bedroom in 2022 as a way of keeping up to date with the latest campaigns. And just in 2 short years, she has grown to a platform of over 85,000 followers, which is just amazing. I mean, it's, you know, it's fair to say it's just amazing. And no matter what type of marketer you are or what type of role you have or specialist skill set you have, lots of what most people are doing are trying to build a community, whether it's for their business that they're in or whether it's for themselves personally. So we're going to be picking Rachel's brain on exactly how she did that. But also, if you know Rachel, you will also know she is the queen of marketing campaigns, which I think I might have given you that title, Rachel, but it's definitely true. And so we're going to be digging in today to some of our favorite campaigns, and we're going to be taking a deep dive into those campaigns to really understand what makes them successful and why they're so amazing, so we can hopefully help you guys when you're thinking about creating your own campaigns. So I'm going to introduce Rachel in one moment, but just to let anybody know who has been on one of our webinars before, this one is very slightly different in format because we are going to be doing this deep dive. So we've chosen 5 of the best campaigns. We're going to take 5 or 10 minutes to really dig into each of them. And then, as always, we will open up at the end for questions from you guys, and we'll do our very best between us to answer everything that you've got. So that is enough from me. Rachel, a huge welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, thank you so much for your kind introduction. Hi everyone, my name is Rachel and I am the founder of Because of Marketing, which you probably have saw on LinkedIn and on Instagram. So a little bit about myself and my marketing kind of journey. I graduated from university in Edinburgh in 2019 and I applied for loads of marketing jobs, which I didn't get any until round about November 2019 and into January 2020. I got an interview with Coca-Cola in London. So I went to their headquarters and I had the interview, and I was overqualified and underqualified. So they were going to create a role for me. But unfortunately, the pandemic hit and they weren't able to bring me on. And I'm sure us marketers all know a lot of the marketing got kind of paused during the duration of the pandemic. So it was kind of one day in July, I was bored and I was just in this bedroom, just bored. And I wanted to keep up to date with the marketing campaigns and with what's happening in the marketing world, because I think the curious marketer inside me wanted to know what brands were doing as the pandemic was going on. And I saw brands such as Starbucks and Pepsi and Coca-Cola and Guinness, they all changed their logos and they created campaigns to encourage consumers and their fans to encourage, like, kind of keep a safe distance. And I absolutely loved this. I created a LinkedIn post to kind of get myself on LinkedIn. I knew nothing about, building a personal brand or anything. And then that's when the idea sparked to actually create an Instagram account, similar to what Mrs. Hinch does in the cleaning industry. I wanted one for the marketing industry. And that's what I done. I did delete it 2 weeks later because I thought, this is ridiculous, Rachel. Like, what are you doing? Like, no one's done this. So I got it back 2 weeks later, and 2.5 years from now, here we are, and we've grown over 100,000 followers, gaining around about 4 million monthly impressions, and working with brands as well. So really, really exciting. I absolutely love because of marketing and speaking with everyone and discussing campaigns. And on the side, I'm also a freelance social media and email marketing manager as well. And I moved to Dubai to work as a brand manager, and I came home end of January, and I'm now building because of marketing and working freelance.
Wow, Rachel, I mean, honestly, where to even start with that? What a journey. I mean, did you always know marketing was for you? Were you always set from a young age that was the path, or was it an accidental career choice?
No, I think I've always been into marketing. I mean, I think just from a very, very young age, I would love the adverts, and I think I was already a consumer because the adverts already influenced me, especially with your McDonald's Happy Meal and the adverts of the toys. I think it always interest me. I was always into business in high school, and then when I went into university, business was so broad, and it was marketing that really sparked my curiosity and my interest. So I kind of changed my degree slightly to focus more on marketing. And yeah, I've always loved marketing now.
Amazing. And is there anything, I mean, what was the first brand that really influenced you as a kid? Anything that really stands out from like those young years where you just go, that has such nostalgia and such feelings of emotion or love, hate, whatever it might be? What was that first brand?
I think it would have to be McDonald's. I think their Happy Meals, it already kind of entices you in as a consumer. And even, I mean, I done my dissertation on Happy Meals and McDonald's as well. But even when you're a young kid, it's one of the most recognised, brands, and their marketing as well, with the big golden yellow arches. And I think they have so much nostalgia. Just their recent campaign they've brought out as well, kind of encouraging adults now having Happy Meals. But yeah, I would 100% McDonald's was kind of my favourite when I was younger.
Amazing. Yeah, I think most can probably resonate with that. Just a quick question, very slightly off topic, but I'm just really interested in this because I think I meet so many marketers, and you are probably one of the most passionate marketers I've met. And there's a lot that is said for marketing in terms of good and bad. And I did a recent post around how lots of parents are discouraging marketing or young professionals from going into the marketing profession for various different reasons. It's super stressful. It's hard on your mental health and well-being. There's not great prospects to, drive through a board level if that's what you're looking for. Risk of redundancies if we know when times get tough, businesses cut marketing, wrongly so, obviously, which we know, but they do it. I mean, what's your take on that in terms of, I guess, your highlights of a career in marketing and why you love it so much and why it makes such a good career?
Mm-hmm. I think with any career you're kind of going to go into, there's always going to be kind of like a risk, or people are always going to have an opinion. But I think definitely marketing is such a broad field. It's not just, for example, parents might just look at marketing and think social media and how that's having, that could have a bad effect on people's mental health, as well, or marketing and creativity could lead to burnout. But there is so much to marketing in terms of, you could be doing campaigns, you could be doing digital, a lot of data driven, you could be doing social media, you could be doing email marketing. So I think there's a lot of different aspects in marketing, and it's quite, you kind of have to know what you're wanting to do, and it's kind of all through trial and error of what it is that you absolutely love to do. Are you data driven, or are you more creative? So yeah, I think it's just, I did see that post you made on LinkedIn. I absolutely loved it. It was very interesting. But I think it is just kind of trialing and knowing what it is that you want to do, and just testing everything, because you never really know something until you give it a try.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's it. And I hope that this is what we bring to lots of our community, that, there is so much variation in marketing. It's, it's not just one thing. And in fact, actually, it can be such a rewarding career, because you really can start to delve into so many areas. And it is so very closely linked with business, and particularly business growth and business impact when you get it right. So yeah, I'm always a big advocate for just, beating the drum around how amazing this profession is. We're all in. So thank you. Okay, so we are gonna get stuck in, Rachel. So for all of our viewers, if anybody missed the very first bit, what we're going to be doing today, as opposed to just firing a ton of questions at Rachel, which is what I normally do, we're going to be showing you a series of our favorite campaigns that we've picked out. And we're going to be getting Rachel to do a bit of a deep dive into each of these campaigns and talk to us about what she thinks brilliant, why they've worked so successfully, and how we can learn something from them to apply to our own marketing campaigns to make you guys the best marketers possible. So I am going to share my screen with everybody, and I'm going to make sure everyone can see this okay. Rachel, just give me the little thumbs up that you can see this.
Yep, I can see that. Yep.
Wonderful. Okay. So the first campaign we are going to start with, I think it's fair enough to say the brand name is in the title, so we're all going to know which campaign and brand it is, but should have gone to Specsavers. The agency did this in March 2022, and the campaign looked a little something like this. So Rachel, give us your kind of top level on this campaign, and then we'll dig into some of the specifics around it.
Yeah, I mean, this campaign, I absolutely love it. This is probably one of my favorite. Well, obviously I chose it, but I think it's one of my favorite from this year, because it just screams Specsavers. I absolutely just love it. And basically, a little bit of an overview. They were celebrating their 20th anniversary, and they had kind of paused their marketing 2 years before, due to the pandemic. So the agency and Specsavers came up with a campaign, and this was the result of it. Out of home, it was kind of multi-channel campaign, so it was out of home, print, digital, and it's absolutely brilliant.
It's so good. I mean, their slogan is so globally renowned. It's unreal. And the simplicity, but the brilliance and intelligence behind this is just unreal. So what key components make up this campaign? What sort of objectives do you think they had behind this?
I would say that they've definitely humanized the campaign. So it's for example, we all know this tagline. Everybody knows who Specsavers are. What I love about them is that they're kind of like a boring opticians. If you were to see them, I walked past their office in Glasgow and I thought they're so corporate. When you see their marketing, anything but. They are absolutely geniuses in this. And I think they just wanted to kind of come back with a bang, and using this campaign here and other ones, they've stated the obvious, but they've stuck to their tagline the entire time. And then I think that's massively important, as a brand and as a marketer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they got really cheeky with this, didn't they? Really fun, really cheeky. It was always so simple, but yet the message was so very obvious. And often that's the gold, isn't it? I mean, that is often what makes campaigns so brilliant, because they're so simple and so easy to get, especially large outdoor format stuff.
Yeah.
So in terms of this campaign, I mean, what drew you to this campaign and what do you think made it so successful?
I think if we just look at this picture, if they just had that white background and said should have gone to Specsavers, it wouldn't have done well. The fact they've incorporated a ladder underneath the billboard is what has really drew my attention, because it's so brilliant and it's so funny and it makes you laugh and it gives you that emotional connection with the brand, especially if you know who they are and you've followed them, since I've known them since I was young. And, that tagline, oh, I should have got to Specsavers. But when you actually see it now, especially in my kind of marketing career, you kind of like give so much credit to them, because it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. What I also love about this, I think, is so interesting is that for those who do need glasses at some point, they've all likely done something really stupid, not probably on this scale, but something really silly, put, instead of the milk in orange juice in your drink, or, put the, just something that hasn't quite resonated because that vision hasn't been perfect. And this almost resonates so well with that particular customer who is struggling with their sight and therefore might have done something that really resonates, that they need to then think about going and getting glasses or help with their eyes. So for me, I think what I love about this is that they've really thought about the consumer at the end of it, and they've really connected with that persona by bringing to light some of the things that may well happen if you don't go and get your eyes sorted out.
Yeah, they've definitely been consistent with it all, and they've been very, very consumer centric. So they've always had the consumer in mind, which is always in any campaign, that's kind of always your end goal, is to always have your consumer in mind and kind of building a campaign around that. And Specsavers have just executed it so well.
Yeah, they really have. In terms of, I guess, success around this campaign, what type of objectives do you think they had from the outset, and what type of success do you think that might have drawn?
I think their objective for terms of success would kind of be brand awareness, and I think they definitely achieved that, along with, because it was out of home, a lot of people were taking pictures of it. Definitely brand awareness, and I would also say definitely a reminder to get your eyes checked. As well. I think that was kind of the main objective. I don't have data research if there's an increase of people going and getting their eyes checked, but I think definitely the main objective would have been brand awareness and also encouraging consumers to get their eyes checked, because I think, if we're talking marketing, it's a very fast-paced industry. You do put things off, important things such as getting your eyes checked. And I think that's kind of Specsavers' goal, was to encourage them, but just doing it in their tone of voice, which is obviously humour, but that important message as well.
Yeah. And it feels so very authentic to them, doesn't it? And interesting that so many of us now use this phrase in everyday life, as, when we're trying to explain something, their strap line becomes part of our human language. And that's when a brand is really dominating in their market spaces.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. And so what takeaways can we take from this campaign if we're thinking about our own campaigns? Any kind of top tips here that they did well that we could take away?
I mean, I would just definitely say be true to your purpose, be true to your values. Specsavers have never changed their tagline in 20 years. And, I think it's just being consistent. And even if at the start of a business you're starting out and you've got a tagline, be consistent with it and work around that tagline, because that's your true purpose. And humanize your brand as well. And that's what Specsavers has done. And that's how they're absolutely brilliant. 5 years ago, I didn't really know their marketing. Now they are one of my favorite brands, and this campaign back in March, it really showed. So yeah, I'd definitely say those two.
Love that. That's great advice. Thank you so much. Right, let's have a look at the next. So Better with Pepsi. Again, a brand that we will all be super familiar with. This agency, DDB, back in May 2021, released this campaign. So give us a little bit of insight into this campaign and what components make up a great campaign here for Pepsi.
Okay, this again, I absolutely love this campaign. One of my favorites. I just done a TikTok about it as well. Basically, Pepsi were doing a taste test. So their agency got given a brief to basically do a taste test in America to see what what beverage goes better with a burger. So it was for National Burger Day, and it was a taste test to see which went better using 3 of the biggest kind of food chains. And basically the end results were Pepsi did go better, and this was what they tried to do from the campaign. So they brought in as an origami artist,
Yeah.
who basically used the fast food chains wrapping, and they actually found that you can see in the 3 circles that Pepsi's logo is in each of the wrapping. And I think if any campaign was to really blow me away, it would it would be this one, because I think if in terms of kind of being an agency and you've been given a brief that you have to turn a food test into a kind of creative campaign, you would struggle, and you would kind of, you don't really know what to do. And I think that's why it's kind of executed so beautifully in this campaign.
It is, and it aligns this drink with all of all of those food brands, which essentially, part of it was which does it go better with, or which drink goes with which burger. But in fact, it's saying actually Pepsi is the leading drink to go with all of these majors. So if you're having a burger, think Pepsi. It's so very clever. Slightly more complex, I think, in terms of the agency brief. I absolutely agree. I can imagine, our group of creatives sitting around with that type of brief would be a little bit of head scratching going on. But yeah, they've done an unbelievable job here. What drew you to this? I mean, how did you understand the concept behind it when you first saw the creative? Was it super simple, and did you just love it immediately, or did it take a bit of digging? And
it definitely took a bit of digging. I could see what they were saying, but I done my research and I looked into it, because what I think the very first one I saw was the McDonald's when Pepsi uploaded it on Instagram, and it said Better Biff Pepsi, but I saw the McDonald's logo. I thought, I'm confused at this. I read the caption, they explained it, and then the Chief Marketing Officer Todd Kaplan, I'm sure that's his name, he explained it all on LinkedIn. And I think once it was explained to me and once I'd done the research, I really just thought that is genius. That is absolutely incredible. I mean, it's won huge awards as well, and lots of pencil awards from D&AD. It's just, I think it's one that will go down in history in campaigns.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because we're starting to see a lot of brands align themselves with other brands now, which might have been seen as competing brands in a market space at one time, or in fact might have never been seen together because they absolutely don't compete and don't share the same target audience or the brand values. But we're actually seeing much more collaboration with brands these days. And you think that might come from any of these kind of partnerships of a collaboration we might see in the future?
Oh gosh, you've caught me off guard there. I'm not too sure. Probably, I mean, maybe fashion and food, maybe a fashion and food brand. That would be really cool. I'm not too sure. You've caught me off guard.
That's great. No, I guess again, what takeaways, no pun intended there, can we take away from this brand and campaign, and what can we apply to our own kind of campaigns? What learnings have we got from this one?
I think the key kind of takeaways here are just kind of looking to see how you can turn a kind of basic brief but into something that's more creative and just out the box as well, because like this started as a taste test brief and it's ended up becoming a huge kind of campaign. So I think I'd say kind of the key takeaways here is just kind of seeing what the brief is and how you can turn that into a kind of more creative artwork.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any stats out there around this, but I would imagine being Pepsi, they were super focused on their objectives here and hugely around brand awareness, but no doubt this was driving purchases. Do we know if there's any stats around this campaign? Do we know how it performed?
So there was 3.6 million impressions on social media, and also as the results were, Pepsi does go better with Coke as well. And there was also, I'm sure there was like an 11% sales increase as well. So it was a really, really effective campaign.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, for me, the process of building a campaign is so much fun, but it's when you start to see the results that you really, the power of what marketing and good marketing can really do in terms of driving that bottom line is just phenomenal. Never fails to go kind of unnoticed on me. I still to this day think it's just such an amazing way to get into the head of buyers and make them act. And this is a perfect example of this.
Definitely, yeah.
Okie dokie. Netflix, one of our favorite household brands now, the out-of-home billboard marquees. This was an in-house campaign in September 2021. Tell us a little bit about why you chose this one, Rachel, and what you love about it.
I absolutely love. I think if you've signed up to Because of Marketing's newsletter, I guarantee there will be one out of home Netflix marquee in the newsletter. I love out of home billboards. But what really draws me to this one is that it was a social campaign, not on social media. So back in 2020, head of brand Spencer Summers, when he was in the marketing team, they were having conversations around how can we kind of encourage new films and create conversations with their fans. So in 2020, they purchased a billboard in Hollywood. It's now kind of expanded to worldwide as well, but they purchased a billboard in Hollywood, and they announced, I don't think it's there, they announced, oh no, they do, said that don't give up on your dreams, we started with DVDs. So what I love first about that one is it was relatable to their story, it was inspiring, and it created so much conversation online. So it was an out-of-home billboard, but the intention was to start to create conversations online on social. And yeah, I mean, straight away I think it got about 400,000 impressions. So it was a very, very effective campaign. And then that's why every Monday they'll kind of get together and they see what's happening on Netflix, but also what's trending, and then they create a billboard out of it. So you've got kind of like, you've got Bridgerton there, and I saw other ones like Stranger Things where they actually had the words upside down. So I think it's very nostalgia, it's very Netflix, it's very on brand, and it does create a lot of conversations on social media as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, I mean, it really bringing that kind of cinematography, that real kind of what was very traditionally a cinema type of, goer to enjoy movies in that way, completely to a different audience who are enjoying movies in a similar type of way, but not necessarily in a cinema, enjoying them at home now. And they really have transformed their brand from where they started, but they've done it with such ease, and they just seem to get it right, don't they? They just seem to know their consumers so well, they just get it right.
Yeah. Even just with, for example, the Bridgerton one, I'm just looking at it there, even just having that font, they honestly study it so well. And I've saw some of behind the scenes of them, 3 a.m. they're putting up this billboard. It's just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And it also generates FOMO. For example, if you see this billboard or if I've shared it or whatever, and you see this and you're like, where is that from? What is that movie? It then generates a curiosity, and it then kind of like makes you go on Netflix and you see it. It's good. It's absolutely brilliant. I do love it, and I know that since 2020 when they started this campaign, it's generated over 1 billion impressions. So it's worked. It's absolutely worked, and I just love seeing it everywhere. I've asked for one to be in Glasgow or Edinburgh. So
I can't remember seeing one of these in Newcastle at all. We definitely need one down here.
They need to come to the UK.
They do indeed. But yeah, and I mean, I guess for me, what I love about this is just that, although certainly outdoor like this has to be planned, it can almost be quite reactive as well. So as long as they've got the space, depending on viewer numbers, if a show needs a boost, or if a show is absolutely flying like Stranger Things and they want to really create that FOMO, they can use it for various different reasons within the business to help the business meet its objectives. So a really great example of how clever kind of reactive in the moment marketing with some real strategic foundations behind it can really help either turn a show around or boost a show even further and increase those viewer numbers, of course.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's brilliant for brand awareness, but it's also brilliant for the movies that they're also promoting on Netflix as well. So
Yeah.
it's perfectly executed, and I think when they first start, I think they just nailed it right from the very start with their first, out of home marquee as well. And yeah, it's never been done before, so it's brilliant. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, me too. Okay, top tips that we can take away here when we're thinking about our own marketing campaigns. What can we learn from this one?
I would say doing what they done, using billboards to create a social media campaign. I think we saw that with Thursday's marketing.
Yeah.
They do a lot of out of home billboards, and then it kind of gets brought on. So it gets brought onto social media, and there's a lot of conversation. So I think that's absolutely brilliant to do that. I would also say, in terms of what Netflix have done, is they've been on brand, they've been themselves, and they've brought this to outside, because that's the perfect example, like what you said earlier. It's that Hollywood film typography. It's absolutely perfect. So yeah, definitely billboards for social campaigns, and I think we will see a lot more of that as well.
Yeah, I do as well. And I think that's been a real change in the marketing world, where there was
Yeah.
almost a period where outdoor media started to die a death a little bit, particularly
Yes.
when
Yeah.
digital was so easy trackable. You could put every metric behind digital and you got immediate visibility, whereas with outdoor it was always really a struggle going back 10-15 years ago, because you just had no idea of the impressions, or what type of reaction or what type of objective it was moving towards, where that has really shifted now. So it's great to see that happening as well.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree.
Okie dokie. Here we go, Rachel. We had to obviously have Nike in here, of
Of
course.
course.
Die-hard brand forever. You can't stop sport. So this was done in July 2020. And I mean, yeah, there's so much to say about this campaign. Tell us why you love this one and why you chose this.
I think this one had such an emotional connection. I think because everyone was going through the pandemic, it was a really, really kind of down time for a lot of people. And Nike came out with this beautiful, incredible, inspiring commercial, which I think for me personally, it made me love them even more. Basically, kind of as it says, nothing can stop what we can do together. And it's a commercial which basically has a split screen of edited 4,000 hours of clips from sport, but it transitions into, like, so it was like, for example, one sport transitions into the next sport. They use about 50, like it's 54 athletes across 24 different sports, and it just basically shows that even with a pandemic, we'll come together. It's the perfect Nike execute it perfectly about storytelling, and you can see it so clearly in this commercial. So I love an inspiring campaign and commercial, and this one, it's always one that I will remember.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing more powerful than kind of moving hearts and minds, is there? And this
Yeah.
one, that kind of collaborative coming together in a time where we were all so separate and removed from each other. Yeah, it was just so powerful, so on point for the timing, so on point for the audience. And I think, I mean, is it fair to say that Nike just don't seem to be able to do any wrong? Like, they just have it so right. I'm sure there's something at some point coming in the future, but they really do just, they have it on point every time, don't they?
Oh, they honestly do. And to any kind of book reader, or if you listen on Audible, Greg Hoffman, the former chief marketing officer of Nike, he has a book out called Emotion by Design. And if you're really into campaigns, I can't recommend the book enough. He speaks about a lot of the biggest campaigns, and what he keeps talking about is storytelling. And it's you can't go wrong with it. Storytelling will take you so far, especially in marketing, especially in your personal brand as well. And yeah, it's like you say, Lisa, Nike just don't do it wrong.
Yeah, they really don't. Another recommendation is Shoe Dog, if anybody's really interested. I mean, the story of how Nike was built is absolutely fascinating, and absolutely, as a marketer or as an entrepreneur, or as somebody with an interest in business, it really just gives you the inside track as to how that brand became so phenomenally successful, but absolutely not in a traditional sense. It's a really great read if anybody's interested in that as well. So what can we take away from this campaign, Rachel? I mean, particularly, let's think about our audience who might not have the budgets that they have for any, for one, but also even the means to do something quite as sophisticated or quite as expensive in terms of commercials. What can we learn from this that we could apply to something that's a bit lower level, that's a bit more achievable for normal marketers?
Yeah, I think even if you are on a low budget, there's nothing like just being honest and just telling your true brand story. And, you know, regardless of how much this campaign probably cost and that the fact it's Nike, I think it kind of goes to any business if you're a startup or if you're, you know, a multi-million business, telling your brand story and, you know, really knowing your consumers, because I think that's how you're going to gain people's trust. That's how you're going to gain sales. That's how you're going to grow in the future, is by getting to know your audience and getting to know them and, you know, kind of like all their demographics and everything like that as well, and just telling the brand story. And this is how I think Nike has just done it so successfully.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess I'd probably add to that never underestimate the power of a single line. So, you know, in my agency, we used to work with copywriters and conceptual kind of writers, and often the tiniest few words that ended up, you know, no more than a handful of words in most instances, the less the better, is exactly what pins your campaign together, and it gives it everything. It's almost the heart of the campaign. And I think that's probably what's been kind of a consistency through all of the ones that we've looked at. They've had just that killer one-liner, whether it's the brand strapline or whether it's something that's more campaign-led. But never underestimate, as a marketer, the power of amazing copy, and often as a starting point with a campaign, for me, if you can get that conceptual copy line right, even if it's not the final piece first, the rest starts to come together much easier. The visuals, the photography, the style, and the people you need involved, but that one liner can really transform absolutely everything.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That is one thing that I underestimated as a marketer in my career, the importance of copywriting. And there was somebody that had actually said to me, you want to try and say the most information in the least words. Yep. In copywriting. And it's like what you say, Lisa, like Nike have absolutely nailed it with their strapline. It's so powerful that, you know, it's absolutely incredible, and they've kept that consistent across every single commercial, marketing campaign, everything as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because within the fabric programs, this is probably the area where most of our marketers require most help. And it's around reducing those one-liners to 3 or 4 words. And that is, I mean, it sounds like it should be so simple. It's probably one of the most difficult jobs, particularly if you've been English literature or, you know, student of communications at any point, because you're almost programmed to write lots. What makes a really successful kind of hard-hitting campaign is those campaigns that say next to nothing, but have the power to change, to influence, to engage people. So yeah.
No, absolutely. I think you know, Nike do it amazing. I think Gymshark do it amazing as well. They've a lot of their campaigns. The one, I've forgotten the name of it now. The one about they were encouraging to speak about your mental health with the weight. Some weights are harder to lift than others. I think it was that one. Yes. The copywriting on that, again, it's absolutely incredible. So I think definitely starting out your marketing career, or if you're a marketer as well, copywriting, study and learn copywriting, because it's difficult, but it's incredible, and it's very, very rewarding as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, last but not least, we had Pepsi, so of course we've got to feature Coca-Cola.
I didn't even know I had the 2 competitors.
We've separated them, so they're not right next to each other.
Yeah.
So this was Share a Coke campaign. Of course, this was Saatchi's, and it was 2014. So this is a slightly older campaign, but still, as you know, one of the all-time favorites. So tell us what it is you loved about this particular one.
I remember being in high school, and I remember this coming out, and I was like, I have to get my name on a Pepsi Coke. I have to do it. And I remember seeing pictures. This is kind of when Facebook. This is kind of when Facebook came out, and I remember going down my timeline. All my friends had a bottle with their name on it, and you just had to join in. You just had to be cool and have it and post it on your Instagram and everything. It's everybody. The biggest thing I love about this campaign is the fact fact that it's personalization, and everybody loves personalization, and there's nothing more personal than your name as well. So this campaign started off in Australia, and basically they wanted to actually increase sales, and they wanted to also target kind of more millennials as well during the summer. And the campaign was that successful in Australia that it then got rolled out worldwide over kind of the multi-channel campaign. It's just one of those campaigns that straight away when I think of marketing, I do think of Coca-Cola, but it's this campaign in particular that I absolutely love. And even the hashtag share a Coke, it's a call to action. And it's like what you were saying about copywriting, share a Coke, and it's just, it all makes sense, the campaign and the objective, and it's one of my favorites.
It is. Did you ever manage to get one with your name on?
I did, yeah. I got a few. I don't have them now, but
yeah,
I did.
This was a definite FOMO campaign, wasn't it? If you didn't have one, I remember being, literally all over the shops, desperately looking and like searching, here and there and everywhere to try and make sure you could get yours with your name on. And it's just, I think this has really led the way also for personalization. You think about how Starbucks now adopt this and how you go into their stores and they ask your name and you get it written on your coffee cup and things like this. This was almost the first of its kind in starting to be able to personalize marketing to a degree. So I think this really set the trend, and obviously it's evolved a lot from now, but the power of it could have been anything in that bottle, right? It really didn't matter. You just had to have the Coke brand with your name on. What do you think the main objectives around this particular campaign were? And do we have any stats around this one, or is it too far back?
No, I do. I wrote down the stats. Let me get them here. So over 1.25 million more teenagers tried Coca-Cola as they were encouraged by this campaign, and they saw an 11% sales increase, and the hashtag share a Coke has over 600,000 uses on Instagram as well. I think kind of the stats for this would have been absolutely incredible back in 2014. Sales increase would have definitely soared because of this. And I think there would have been a lot more. I think with this campaign, Coca-Cola definitely won back the consumers' kind of personalization and trust as well, because that was one of their main objectives as well, was to kind of get more kind of teens on board as well. So yeah, it's just such a brilliant campaign, and if you weren't buying it for yourself, you were buying it for someone else. So sales bottles would have increased completely.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure this is Cadbury's took kind of lead from these guys as well. But for me, I don't know if you agree, but this is one of those timeless campaigns that you could roll out time and time again. Like you wouldn't want it out all the time because it loses its impact a little bit, but every couple of years they reintroduce this, and it seems to have the same effect. I think for me, it definitely is one of those timeless campaigns that you could keep in your back pocket and have there whenever you need to.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's funny you say that, because before I applied to their Coca-Cola job in 2019, I think it was a year before that, or just a few months before that, sorry, I actually recreated this campaign, but in terms of Halloween, and I sent it to the American headquarters and the London headquarters. So when I went to the interview, I was like, oh, by the way, I actually sent you in like a campaign spin-off to the Share a Coke one. So I was kind of just like, it is like what you say, it's timeless. I think you can bring it back to anything, but it can also be rolled out with any company as well, because personalization is such an emotional connection that everybody loves something personalized. Like you can see it on like Not on the High Street and Getting Personal and everything like that. It's definitely personalization, and that's why Coca-Cola just won this so much. It's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this didn't influence you wanting to go to work for the brand, did it? Was that just a brand dream anyway?
No, I've always wanted to work for Coca-Cola. I really love their marketing. I love what they do. I love their campaigns. But when I was in high school, I wasn't really I didn't really know back then. I was kind of just, I had that FOMO that I need this bottle with my name on it. But yeah, kind of over time when I started to really get into business and marketing, if you were to say to me 5 years ago, like, who would be your dream company? Coca-Cola, definitely.
Amazing, amazing, love it. Well, thank you so much, Rachel. That's been amazing. We are going to open to some questions now. So if you have some questions, try and keep them out the chat and into the Q&A box, just so I don't miss any. And we're going to open the floor to you guys, and you can ask away, and we'll get Rachel's take on them. But before we do that, we have a little challenge for you guys. So obviously today we've been talking all about campaigns. We're going to set you all a challenge. We're hoping as many of you get involved in this as possible, because we've got some cool prizes. But essentially what we want you to do following this webinar is talk about your favorite brand campaign. Now, this is a great way to get yourself known on socials, particularly LinkedIn, but if, as Rachel, leading the way in TikTok. So whatever channel you want to choose, but let's make sure we've got you on LinkedIn as well. We want to know which campaign you loved. We want to know what you think they're trying to achieve, why you loved it, and what you can learn from it, or what you have learned from it, in fact. So we want you to share this on LinkedIn. We want you to tag Fabric and tag Because of Marketing. We will amplify those messages far and wide. So we'll try and share you with our networks of marketers and marketing businesses as well. And include the hashtag Level Up with Fabric. You're going to start to see this hashtag all over the place now as we start to run a series of different campaigns. We're going to be choosing a winner on the 10th of October, and the winner will receive one of our free mini courses. So they will get either the Persona mini course or the Values mini course completely free of charge to undertake whenever they fancy. So we want to know what your favorite campaigns are. Now, as you know, if you follow Rachel, this is an amazing way to start talking about marketing. It opens up conversations all over the place. It makes for really good debates, opinions, engagement. So do start to think about your favorite brand campaign, and do share it with us on socials and tag both Fabric and This Is Marketing. So I am going to link back to us, Rachel, and I'm going to start to open the floor as I can see some questions starting to flow in. So first question here. Out of all these campaigns, which one is your favorite?
Oh gosh, it was hard picking 5. Now I've got to pick one. Okay, I would say Netflix social campaign. I would say that one because I think it's fresh, and it's every week they've got something new, and it creates a lot of conversations. And I can see I can see a lot of other companies seeing what's happening with this and joining as well. So yeah, Netflix social campaign would be my number one campaign out of those 5.
Amazing. I'm going to go Specsavers for me. I just love the simplicity of Specsavers, and I love there's nothing more than the strap line, but everything that goes into that campaign is like something that really emotes and moves a feeling in you. So I just love how cheeky they were with that and how it resonated. So for me, it's Specsavers. But it's a hard choice, right? They're all brilliant. Yeah,
I know.
Okay, next question. So I've got one here from Rosalind, which says, what really interested you in the marketing industry?
Oh, I would say getting creative. I would say having a brief on a piece of paper and seeing how that executes into a campaign. I would say that's what I am so curious about. And Because of Marketing, I've done a new series called Creator Behind the Campaign, where I do a Q&A with creators behind the campaigns, because I love to know how they've thought of this campaign. I'm a very, very kind of curious person, and I'd love to kind of dissect and see how this campaign was, kind of what the brief was, and following through to the execution, to the results. So yeah, I think that's what I love most about being a marketer, is being creative. And also when I work for clients, and when I do things Because of Marketing, being a business owner as well, I just kind of love having this creative side, where I've always been creative as a kind of young child, a teenager, and now it's my full-time job. So yeah, I do love it. I do love being creative, and it's something that, yeah, it's creativity. I love it.
Love it. Amazing. Okay, next question. So this is a great one. How do you keep on top of the latest trends and campaigns going out?
I think for myself, when I'm posting on Because of Marketing, I follow a lot of the companies and the agencies online. There's also Pretty Little Marketer, who is absolutely brilliant. She also shares the latest trends and campaigns as well. And I think there's a lot of, if you follow marketing resources such as Adweek, Marketing Week as well, The Drum, and even if you look on Ads of the World, they share a lot of really good campaigns. And D&AD have just released their 2022 annual, which also shares, oh, sorry, I've got someone coming in, which also shares, which also shares all the campaigns of 2022 as well. So yeah, lots of resources on the internet to keep up to date with trends and campaigns.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay, so I've got a question here from Sophie. So Sophie says, I'm in my final year studying a marketing degree, and I'm beginning to apply and find graduate jobs, ideally in social media marketing. Do you have any advice for finding opportunities within the industry and standing out?
I would say create your own opportunities. So in terms of that, I would create my own portfolio. And what I would do is, if you're wanting to focus in on social media, I would start to reach out to local businesses and just say to them that you're a recent graduate, you're wanting to pursue a career in social media marketing. Would it be possible to, you know, kind of create some ideas for how you can improve your social following or build brand awareness, etc. And because this is a good example of what you can show a potential employer, instead of just having it on a CV, a lot of employers love to see it. And yeah, I would definitely say create a portfolio and gain as much experience as you can in social media, so that you have that you have the degree, you have the knowledge, but to actually have the experience, I think will make you stand out.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add to that, Sophie, as an employer, you know, we are always looking for personality and values over skills and experience. And what you really want to try and get through when you're looking to, you know, stand out is who you are and why you care and what you care about. And I think if you can get those things across, more so because, you know, you are a graduate, you're not going to have tons of experience. You can try and make the very best of the opportunities around, you know, social or volunteering or different schemes that you've been doing, which is great. And continuous learning is always a big one. But aside from that, you know, what people really want to see is your desire, your ambition, your resilience, your resourcefulness, all the skills that make up a really good marketer. So find ways that you can showcase that. Find stories in your past where you've overcome something tricky, or you've been faced with a problem and you found it. And you know, we're starting to see a lot of CVs come through now in video format, which is which I personally love. It's not for everybody. I know lots of people still feel a bit terrified of being in front of the camera, but it really gives me insight into that person's personality and what they're like. So be creative with the ways you get in front of people. I mean, Rachel mentioned before about the Coca-Cola example. She kind of hacked one of their campaigns to really kind of stand out. You know, be creative. It doesn't have to be super expensive. It doesn't have to be super time consuming, but it really can kind of, you know, set you apart, particularly when you're in a pool of, you know, lots of grads applying for same types of roles. So hopefully that helps. Okay, Rachel, next question. How do you think B2B campaign channels differ from B2C? Is there a difference?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think the difference would kind of be what the end result would be. I think if you're kind of doing more of a B2C campaign, I would kind of, depending on the brief and everything, you would kind of be looking for maybe a bit of a more emotional connection, to kind of, if the end goal is to obviously increase sales, brand awareness, I would probably go down kind of more of an emotional connection with consumers. B2B, again, depending on the brief and what it would be, I think there might be more or less of less of an emotional connection, but more of like a brand awareness, to help kind of push and promote and advertise a company. Something that I've not actually thought about, but that's something new that I've learned as well. Yeah, I'd probably say the kind of, I don't know if Lisa, if you could add anything onto that as well.
Yeah, so I talk about this loads now because I don't think there's a difference between B2B and B2C. I think it's very old school marketing styles, and we are all people selling to people or talking to people, or, you know, trying to connect with people. So whether you're a consumer in your personal life or whether you're a consumer in a business, you know, you're still connecting with people. For me, the channels are much more about where that person is in their day and what they're using that channel for. So, you know, you will find that people who are on LinkedIn are in the professional mindset. When they're surfing LinkedIn, they're looking for stuff to do with work, connections that can help them in their career, information on a particular topic. If people are on Instagram, they're probably not thinking about work so much. You know, they're there connecting with people. They're looking at, you know, lush stuff that they like, that they're interested in. That doesn't mean that a business's brand campaign can't be successful on Insta or TikTok or Snapchat or whatever. You've just got to get the right frame of mind that your particular persona is in when they're on those channels, and make sure the content that you serve to them hits the spot there. There's no point in trying to push really hard business messages if somebody's on Instagram just to look at holidays or food or whatever. You know, it's trying to get that balance right. So for me, I just always think, keep in mind you're selling or you're talking to a person at the end of it. Where they spend their time probably depicts a little bit about what frame of mind they're in, and that should help you serve your content a little bit kind of closer to the mark. Okay, question from here, which I love. So what's your advice for marketers who face imposter syndrome? Did you ever experience this feeling in your career? From Aaliyah here.
Yes, I think imposter syndrome and doubt and just not having that self-confidence will always creep up. I think a lot of people, they do have it, whether they speak openly about it or if they don't. I think it is something that I think it's kind of just, if you kind of do like journaling or if you kind of express gratitude, that's helped me a lot, especially in this past year. I wish I could tell myself a year ago to do a lot of the things, the opportunities that came to me, that I would do, and the thing that I didn't do was because I was worried and I was scared. It's definitely something that working on yourself will help overcome, you know, fear and anxiety and self-doubt as well. But at the end of the day, I always say to myself, kind of, what is the worst that could happen? You know, it's life, we're all humans. You know, you're going to have ups and downs. You know, you're going to be nervous. I think even being in like a marketing career, it's definitely pushed me out my comfort zone a lot. This is my first webinar, you know. It's there's a lot of that kind of, that you have to just look back and think, well, I'm better I was a year ago. I'm more confident, and a quote I always go by is just be better 1% each day, and at the end of the year you're 365% better. And if you keep doing that year on year on, you will overcome, you know, you kind of imposter syndrome or self-doubt as well. But I'm sure, you know, a lot of people having a supportive network as well will encourage you and will also help push you kind of out your comfort zone. And once you've done it, you think to yourself, oh, it wasn't that bad. But I'm not saying I know it all, because I really don't. I do get it a lot at the same time, but I'm just kind of sharing that's my experience, especially over the past 6 to 8 months, kind of coming home and going through it myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally love that. I love that 1% each day equates to this over the year. And you're so right there, Rachel. You're absolutely bang on with that. You know, we are all human. We all make mistakes. You know, I've been in marketing 20 years and still nowhere near of knowing it all. You know, sometimes I think the longer I've been in the game, the less I know. It's really I think you've just got to be easy on yourself, you know, and try and remember that you're there, you're showing up every day, you're doing your best, as is everybody else. Be kind, surround yourself with an amazing network of people. I mean, that for me is my one piece of kind of golden advice for anybody in marketing. Find your community, find your close-knit people who really lift you up, you know. Get rid of the people in your life who put you down in the professional sense altogether, because you just don't need that. And just, you know, be free to talk about the things that are really tough and the things that you're great at and the things that you're struggling at, because people are so willing to help. You know, over the years that I've been in marketing, you know, there's times where I've suddenly thought, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm doing with this. And sometimes you want to keep that to yourself. You want to pretend that you know what you're doing. And I think that's where imposter syndrome really creeps in. But if you open up and you're super honest about that and you reach out for help to some people and say, I'm struggling with this, you will be so surprised at how generous people are with their time and how willing people are to help you along the way. And some of those connections that I've made from completely cold relationships have turned into my most powerful networks, my strongest friend connections. So yeah, just don't ever suffer alone if you're ever feeling, you know, imposter syndrome. It just make sure you've got those go-to people that will have your back always.
Yeah, no, spot on. I couldn't agree more. I think as well, especially if you're on LinkedIn and everything as well, people want to help you. Like people, I think like what you said, Lisa, people are so willing to help you. And if you are ever struggling and you know you reach out to somebody, I know if any of my friends reach out to me, I'm genuinely like I'll do anything to, you know, to kind of be a shoulder to cry on or to listen to them as well. So yeah, 100% definitely.
Amazing. Well, I am going to finish on the very last slide as we start to wrap up now, because we've hit a little bit of time. Rachel, I think you and I could have literally talked forever.
I know.
We'll come back with part 2 of like
we will, yeah.
So yeah, we'll bring you back definitely in the next series. A little reminder for everybody involved on the challenge that we set. So please do take part in this. It will massively help you in terms of LinkedIn and your network. Fabric and Because of Marketing will share this far and wide for you. And we look forward to hearing and seeing about all of your amazing brand campaigns. Otherwise, I'm just going to say a huge thank you, Rachel. I mean, I can't believe we haven't had you on a series before now, but you've been amazing. Thank you so much for taking part and sharing all your knowledge with us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I've absolutely loved it. I hope you've all learned something or you've shared passion with Lisa and I on marketing campaigns.
Oh, I think your internet's gone a little dodgy there at the end because you've just slowed into almost robot format. I think you might have gone.
I think I'm back now.
Brilliant. Last thing, Rachel, if people want to connect with you, where can they find you? Where's the best place to get you?
Best place would be Instagram, handle is Because of Marketing. Same on LinkedIn, and we're on TikTok as well, where I talk through all my favourite campaigns and our fortnightly newsletter as well. So the sign up links are across our social channels.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Rachel. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much, everybody who's joined us. And we will see you all next week. Same place, same time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.